What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us today. Back out on the trailer and hopefully have an exciting one coming. So I'm not going to promise you that we're going to paint in this video, but we're going to try to. So it just depends on how much we can get done on this today and, you know, how far along we get, if it's ready for paint or not. So jumping right in, the first thing we have to do today is get this piece of angle iron replaced. So we cut that off, and I have a piece that will fit there somewhat. We'll have to lift it up a little bit. It's not quite tall enough from what I want, but I have a level, so I'll just run a level across here and take a measurement to see how high I actually need it to be, and then we'll get to work on that. But it should be an exciting one. So once we get that done, then I think we can start putting the flat disc to it and try and get some of this rust off. All right, so I know my length needs to be at 50 inches. So let me pull out 50 and mark it. Mark it 50 on this side. I'm just going to run it over to the other side as well. And mark it here. And then I'm just going to grab a square and just give me a nice straight line to cut off. Make it a little bit easier on myself. There we go. So now we have the line. We can just take our angle grinder, get off of the cord, and cut this off. Alright, there we go. Pretty nice cut. I'll just clean up the edges a little bit. And so this right here is 2.5 inch angle iron. So I need the top of this to sit at 3.5 inches. I don't know if I said this was 2.5 or 2. This is 2-inch angle iron, and I need the top to sit at 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, just so I have a lot of support on this, I'm going to cut a 3.5 inch section off of this right here. So come down 3.5 inches, cut it off, and then I'm going to split it down the middle. So I'll take these sections and just set the sections up inside here on the end and weld. So I'll weld the bottom piece to the trailer or to the frame, and that way it'll be a lot more stable. I mean, it's not going to have a lot sitting on it, but I would just like to have more support than necessary. So that's my plan right now. So I'm going to get and start cutting this up. All right, there we have it. Our two 3.5 inch pieces. So just clean these up a little bit, and then we'll be ready to tack them on the angle iron and test fit it on the trailer. All right, so now I just got this ground down. I got the trailer marked, so the edge of it and the inside, so I just know these plates need to sit somewhere in the middle. Something like that. So right now, I'm just going to tack down both sides, and then I'll go test fit it on the trailer, and then once we get that all right, then we'll take it and do the final weld on this. All right, now do the other side. Alrighty, now I'll go fit it. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is take my level here and set it across the frame just like I did previously to see how high I wanted it. I'm just going to stand this up, and I have it marked where I thought it needed to go. It looks like that's a little bit high. So I'm just going to move it down to where this is touching. I'm just trying to check to see, make sure it's pretty straight. So now what I'm going to do is just tack down this side over here, and then we'll go check out the other side. So that looks pretty good to me. There we go. Now let's go check out the other side. All right, so we're going to do the same thing over here. Have the level set up. I'm going to move it so we're just touching it right there. It looks like we're in pretty good shape. So now I'm just going to tack that down. And there we go. So I'm a very amateur welder, but I'm going to give it our best shot to make this nice, and then we'll just see how it turns out. Actually, no. Yeah, we'll weld the backside later. I already have this down on it, so just going to finish this off, and then we'll do the backside of these, because I did forget about that. Alright, so I just had to fiddle and mess with the wire feed speed to get it right. But I think I got the right speed. I know that last half of it was much better than previously. So I'm going to scrape it down and take a look at it. And there we have it. So honestly, not too bad. I mean, you can tell that first half of it is not very good. Just because the speed wasn't right. But on this bottom bit, I did have to build it up because I didn't get the angle quite right. So there's a gap, but I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Not bad for a rookie. So now I am going to do this backside of it. So I'm going to do the bottom and then up the sides. Here's our final result on this side. So these bottom ones on this side turned out really, really nice. For me anyways. I mean, I'm no professional. And then as you can see, these ones on the back side, they are ugly. Really ugly. So I'm gonna have to clean those up with a grinder. Just because those are that bad. But I'll clean them up. So now that we have this on here, and this is really strong. So I mean, I'll shake the whole trailer with it. So that is perfect. Should be just what we need. And then there's going to be one more that goes on up here at the front, but we need to get the front of it done. And I'm going to try to remake that whole thing, but we need to get that done first, and then that'll be last to go on. So we'll have to probably grind down the paint a little bit to weld that on, but that's okay. That's going to be a ways away until we get that. But I'm happy with how that turned out. So now what I'm going to try to do, I think, is I'm going to try to flip the trailer over on its backside, just so it'll be easier to clean off the rust and everything on the underside of it, rather than trying to crawl under the thing and, you know, grind down or whatever from the top. So I'm going to try to flip it over now, and I mean, it's heavy, but I don't think it's too heavy to do that. So I'm going to get it down off the jacks so we have a pivot point of this back end on the ground, and then we'll go from there and probably take the flap disc to the underside of it and try to get as much rust off as we can. So since we had it flipped over, I did do a few things off camera. I got the top part of the shackle out of the mount. So we will need to try to get out the bushing that's in there, but we'll do that later. I took off the rods that connect the fenders, and then I cut off the bolts that were holding the step side on. So the bolts are still in over there, but we'll cut those out later since there's no, you know, piece on it. So now what we're going to do is take the flap discs and try to get as much of the surface rust off of this as possible, because the paint that I have, the chassis paint, says that you can paint it, or you can put it on over top of rust, but I really don't want to do that. So I'm just going to try to get as much of this off as possible, and then we're going to sandblast the inside of this. And, you know, all these, you know, harder to reach areas and odd places. So we'll get on with the flap discs, get as much done as we can there, and then start sandblasting. So after a little grinding, it doesn't look too bad. It is pitted pretty good, but we got most of the surface rust off of it, which is nice. That'll help a lot. So we don't really have to hit the outside of this really hard. But I think it looks pretty good. So now just getting the compressor and the sandblaster set up. So getting them set up here. Let Chris have a little fun with it. And so I think what we'll do is, she's never used one before, and I mean, last time was the first time I used it, so we'll probably start off on the back here and just try to clean this bit up, and you know, this one, just to get a little practice in, and then start heading into like these inside parts and whatnot. So we'll probably try to get all of this inside stuff done and any parts on the top of this, and then we'll flip it back over and hit the top. But should be fun. Always fun to use a sandblaster, so let's get to it. We are done sandblasting the inside, bottom, and sides of it. So it looks really good. So much better. It looks really good. I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. And now what we're going to do is take it and we're going to flip it back over right side up and sandblast the top of it. And then I want to flip it back as is to paint it, to start out painting. So we'll start out back over like this, paint the inside, all the inside of this, the top and the outside, and we'll leave like this portion of the front and about 6 inches on the back unpainted, just so we have room to flip. And then that way it'll just be easier to get it all and get like the inside creases of this and whatnot. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, here we are. It's completely sanded. So it was a lot of work getting to this point, that is for sure. But honestly, it looks so much better. It looks so much better now. So I did take this gun and just blow off the dust, but I'm very pleased with how it's turned out so far. And I can't wait to get this coat on it, coat of paint, So I know I told you that we might paint it in this video, but it looks like it's going to be the next one. This took a long time to get to this point, and we are tired. But I am happy to have Chris's help on this. Took a little bit of the weight and pressure off me, and you know, just enjoy having her here to work on it with me. So next one, we're going to get this thing painted. So we still have to wipe it down, get all the dust and any of our fingerprints and stuff off of it. But we'll do that in the next one and get it painted and check it out. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for how this is going to turn out. So stay tuned. We'll see you.